In every man lies a powerful storm of desires, a raw energy that seeks expression. These urges, sexual, emotional, psychological, material, can either be the source of his downfall or the fuel that drives him into purpose, vision, and legacy. It is an eternal truth that whoever, or whatever, controls a man's urges, controls his future. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a brutal law of life. The man who lacks mastery over his impulses becomes a slave to external forces. The man who masters them, however, becomes dangerous, focused, and destined. Let's explore why this principle is so powerful, how it applies to the modern man, and what steps are necessary to transform from a reactive creature into a conscious architect of destiny. At the most primal level, urges are natural. Hunger urges a man to eat. Lust urges a man to pursue intimacy. Ambition urges him to rise. The problem is not the existence of urges. It is the mismanagement of them. When urges go unchecked, they become chains. They bind a man to instant gratification and keep him trapped in cycles of distraction and regret. We live in a world that profits off men who cannot control their urges. The porn industry thrives because men cannot govern their sexual desires. Fast food industries explode because men cannot resist unhealthy cravings. Social media dominates attention because men cannot resist dopamine triggers. Consumerism wins because men are sold identities and status symbols they don't need, but desire. When you look around at society, you see not freedom, but manipulation. The man who does not master his urges becomes controlled by corporations, by influencers, by fantasies, by impulses. The fiercest war is not fought in boardrooms or battlefields. It is fought within a man every single day. The war between your higher self and your lower self. The war between your vision and your distraction. The war between your mission and your lust. The war between delayed gratification and impulsive gratification. When you understand that the real enemy is within, you stop blaming the world and begin confronting your own patterns. This is where transformation begins. An uncontrolled urge is not just a momentary mistake. It's a breach in the wall of your future. Every time you yield to lower desires, you weaken your discipline. And every time you say no, you strengthen the roots of mastery. Urges are not evil. They are raw energy. Energy is neither good nor bad. It is neutral. What determines whether it becomes destructive or constructive is how it's channeled. Sexual energy, for example, is one of the most powerful forces in a man. Yet most waste it through compulsive behavior, porn, masturbation, random hookups. They trade this godlike energy for a moment of relief and lose hours, even years of focus and drive. Now imagine if that energy was conserved and redirected into building a business, mastering a craft, developing a legacy, or deepening one's spiritual life. The man who can hold his urge, feel it, transmute it, and still stay on course becomes powerful beyond belief. That energy becomes presence. That presence becomes clarity. That clarity becomes direction. And direction, when backed by discipline, leads to destiny. Who controls you? Look at your life honestly. Who or what controls your urges? Does porn control you? Does your phone dictate your time? Do cravings control your diet? Do emotions dictate your responses? Does society define your worth? Do women control your attention? You must face the hard truth. If something outside of you controls your internal state, it owns you. If a screen can pull you away from purpose, it owns you. If a body can seduce you from your mission, it owns you. If a comment can destabilize your peace, it owns you. To build a future on your own terms, you must reclaim ownership of your inner world. Discipline is the gatekeeper of destiny. Every urge resisted is a brick laid in the foundation of greatness. The future belongs to the man who can delay gratification in pursuit of higher outcomes. Think of every man you admire. Behind the talent, the success, the influence, there's an invisible war they had to win. The war over urges. The athlete who skips the party to train. The businessman who wakes up early while others sleep. The creator who works through boredom and isolation. The leader who stays calm in chaos. The monk who abstains from worldly distractions to grow spiritually. These are not superhuman feats. They are evidence of control, of choice, of alignment. They refuse to be ruled by temporary impulses, and in doing so, built permanent legacies. True masculinity is not brute force. It is refined control. A man's power is not just in his strength, but in his restraint. To be dangerous but disciplined, strong but stable, driven but grounded, that is the mark of the mature masculine. Uncontrolled masculinity becomes toxic. Controlled masculinity becomes sacred. The man who channels his sexual energy into creation becomes a force of expansion. The man who transforms his hunger into work becomes unstoppable. The man who resists comfort becomes the embodiment of growth. Masculinity that is not guided by vision will always be hijacked by vice. Today's culture is a landmine of temptation. Never before has it been easier to get distracted. One click, one scroll, one swipe, and you're gone. Hours disappear. Energy depletes. Focus evaporates. And here's the thing, society doesn't care. In fact, it benefits from your inability to govern yourself. Every urge you obey without reflection feeds an industry. Your lust feeds OnlyFans. Your cravings feed fast food empires. Your distractions feed tech giants. Your insecurity feeds the fashion and cosmetic industries. You are either a sovereign being or a puppet in someone else's profit model. Reclaiming control. To reclaim your future, you must take back control of your urges. Here's how. Develop awareness. Start by becoming conscious. Track your behaviors. Where are you losing control? What triggers your impulses? You cannot master what you refuse to observe. Delay the response. When the urge hits, pause. Breathe. Reflect. Let the urge rise without acting on it immediately. This builds the muscle of restraint. Redirect the energy. Don't just suppress urges. Transmute them. Use sexual tension to create. Use anger to build. Use hunger to hustle. Energy wants movement. Give it a noble direction. Align with vision. Urges are short-term. Vision is long-term. Every time you're tempted, ask, does this move me closer or farther from who I want to be? Let your future lead your present. Practice self-denial. Fast. Abstain. Challenge yourself. The more you train yourself to say no, the more powerful your yes becomes. Discipline sharpens desire. The future is built in the present. Your future is not some random event waiting to happen. It is a reflection of your present choices. The urges you indulge today shape the man you become tomorrow. The man who controls his urge to sleep in wakes up with purpose. The man who controls his urge to quit becomes resilient. The man who controls his urge to please becomes authentic. The man who controls his sexual urges becomes magnetic. The man who controls his emotional reactions becomes a pillar. There is no destiny without discipline, no greatness without self-governance, no freedom without internal rule. Imagine yourself as a fortress, strong on the outside, stable on the inside. Urges come knocking, but they do not enter unless you permit them. You are not a slave to them. You are their master. The urge to scroll? Denied. The urge to chase women? Redirected. The urge to waste time? Disciplined. The urge to indulge in weakness? Transcended. This is how kings are built, not by how loud they roar, but by how deeply they rule themselves. The man who controls his urges does not live by default. He lives by design. He is not thrown around by life's winds. He walks with direction. He does not apologize for being focused. He becomes a standard. A man who is in control is intimidating. Why? Because he is unpredictable. He cannot be lured. He cannot be seduced by every shiny thing. He stands rooted while others sway. That is power, and that power shapes the future. Every urge you conquer is a prophecy fulfilled. Every desire you master is a throne reclaimed. Every distraction you overcome is a step into your divine mission. Who controls a man's urges controls his future. Let that man be you. Subscribe to this YouTube channel.